Okay.
Yes.
Hello, wealthy women. It is Coach Tamara here. I am actually so excited to bring you this success story interview today. So I will be sharing the mic and video soon with Anna. Anna's work is in helping men find their empowerment. We talk a lot about women's empowerment, and it's such a beautiful subject. And it's so nice that we're going to get a little bit of a refreshing focus now on talking about men's empowerment, all men, and how their empowerment is a benefit to all. So, without further ado, Anna, take it away and tell us about your very beautiful work that you are doing in life.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your time. First of
Um,
all, I'm really excited to be sharing this with you and the audience. So I'm very happy for everyone and welcome everyone that is listening to us and watching us. Thank you for your time also. So my name is
um,
Anna Thiel. My business is Empire Builders Mindset. It is quite a holistic business that I'm starting, and at the moment, my focus is indeed, as already mentioned, men, because I'm sure that you have men in your life, whether it's your father, it's if your husband, your boyfriend, your son, your nephew. You know, there are plenty full around, and I'm sure in your life as well. And I would like to, just give them the chance to get back into their power, or not only getting back, but also the younger generation to actually, have role models and know what they can live up to and what they can strive for, because I believe that men are really wonderful, just like we are wonderful, and it is always an amalgamation of all of us. I mean, it's always the two of us, and especially if you start at where we all started, it's always the semen and the egg, and that kind of follows us through life as well. And therefore, I've decided to, as you've just mentioned, is that we are looking at a lot of women empowerment and everything, which is wonderful. And at the same time, we can also go into men empowerment so that we can empower both, because they both make up our society and our lives, as you would know, like I just said, if you have men in your life, which you probably will have. And maybe you even have some tips and tricks how they could improve. And this is something that I saw as well. I see that there's a lot of a lot of hustling in this culture today, and a lot of men have a lot of pressure to perform, and they have a lot of stress at work and run into burnouts all the time. And I've met a lot of men that have been in burnout, and I wondered, is that really necessary? Is that really the price that they have to pay to be successful? And if you maybe have that experience yourself, you have a man in your life that is stressed out, whether that was your dad or whether it's your partner by your side at the moment, and he's super stressed, and he's got all these deadlines, and he's got lots of responsibilities, and whatever the case may be, he's got his own business, or he's in a position in the company, and then he comes home and he's super stressed, and you, on the one hand, you're looking forward to him, but then you can feel that he's stressed, and a lot of times it can just create a lot of tension that I believe is not really necessary, which is why I've taken it upon myself to look at how is it that I can help them. And with my coaching and my guiding, as I call it, and my programs, I'm looking at specifically, when they are already overworked and stressed out, and, help them with tips and tricks, and on also, very importantly, accountability to actually make the changes in their life so that they can themselves, kind of get some peace of mind again at work, which will then, everything has a ripple effect. So if he's happy at work and he feels, more relaxed and accomplished and feels like he can handle everything and doesn't feel like a failure, then, that will spill over into family life, into whatever, even, just society. When you're walking around, there's not this aggression in the air. It's just, and I know it's a big mission, but, I feel like it's a good mission, and I'm really excited about it. So this is something that I start with, then we go obviously a little bit deeper, because it is all about boundaries. I mean, we know that too well, and women have been very much encouraged to put their boundaries and put down that line and stand up for themselves, and the same goes for men. And That's something that, I go into much deeper belief systems, values, because I believe, just like in medicine, I don't just treat the symptoms. I actually look at the cause, and look at where is this coming from? What is the experience? What was the childhood like? Because this is all how we grow up. Yeah, we see what do our parents do or our guardians, or then it goes into school and everything kind of builds on top of each other to then be, where it is. Now I'm talking about men, but as I mentioned before, it also could start at children. I myself, or I'm a mom to a boy, and I'm everything that I'm putting in my coaching and into my work. I'm I'm making sure that I'm teaching it to him as well, because if we want to change, then we should most of the time look at our children, right? But at the same time, in this case, also look at the men and bring them back into their ultimate power, into their divine masculine, because then ultimately they are the role models. They are the role models that your nephew or your son are then looking at. Not only your husband, meaning their dad, but also what you see in the media, or people achieving, in this case men, achieving things, and for them to look up to and model them, and take on the good characteristics, and yeah, just model them, I think is the easiest way to say. And yeah, so that's a very holistic approach that I take to everything. And I know myself, like I just said with my son, if I teach him those things and then I can see them come to fruition, that's really beautiful. And that's why, I said earlier on, maybe you have a man in your life, whatever that may be, or you're looking back and thinking of your father, how he was always working, or how he wasn't, maybe it wasn't present physically and emotionally, all of those things just tie in together. So we start at the top in my programs. We start at the top and just looking at, okay, how can we create more time? Because if I give tips and tricks for implementation, a lot of times these busy men will say, I don't have time. When am I supposed to like watch this stuff or implement it? You know, but then that's why it's one of the first steps actually is to create time, and to just not normal time management tools, because those they're available everywhere and most of the time hardly work, at least not for the long term. And that's why I go down on to the level of where is all of this coming from. Just like a burnout, there's always a reason. There's nobody that actually needs to work 5 million hours, and nobody ever has 5 million things to do. I know we all think that, and we are very good at that because we are the multitasking masters. But at the end of the day, there's always a deeper laying, issue or a foundation that then gets us to do certain things or behaviors, and
I love everything that you're saying. It is so, so beautiful, the work that you're doing. And I think it's really important now because, there is so much everywhere about women's empowerment. And obviously, I'm all for it. I'm a women's empowerment coach, and we should continue just continue on and soldier on and never stop. Absolutely. I think, what's beautiful about your work is, let's say, in a brief way, for the men, there was this old way of being as a man, right? And then there was a different way of being as a woman. And now women are relearning their new approach. And it's beautiful. It's necessary. It's 100% go for it, women. I think a little bit of the disconnect has happened is that, like you and I have talked before, men are a little bit confused now. They want these beautiful, empowered women, the good, the strong men love this. This is a beautiful thing to keep going for, to empower yourself as a woman. The problem is sometimes the men now don't understand, okay, well, how do they dance with you now? Basically, what's this new dance? And so, as we all know, most men are pretty quiet. They don't necessarily share their emotions, or they don't feel like they're allowed to because they're supposed to be strong all the time. And so what we want happy men, women, because if our men are happy, then we get to be happy as a product. So we have to, this is what I love about Anna's work. She is noticing the shift is different now, and that's good. However, it cannot just be all about us women tooting our own horns, though we should continue to do that. We have to make space for the man to say, hey, I'm all for you tooting your horn. However, how do I now, support you and also myself? And how do we blend so that we're both empowered humans, not man, not woman, but empowered humans? And this is why Anna's work is so important, because she is finding the hiccup in this new way of being. And this is such beneficial work. And what she's saying about her work helping a man be his most empowered and heard self, setting his own boundaries, making sure he's not burned out, because he wants to be at home with you and he wants to be spending time with his children. He wants to be a good son, a good uncle, a good brother, a good guy friend. He wants to be all of those things. But we have to let him know how to, work with us. And so, Anna, I think that's the best way I can say it. You're creating new choreography in which both male and female can dance lovely together instead of stepping on each other's toes, right? And so this is what I love about your work, because nobody wants their toes stepped on, and men's toes are just as important as women's toes. So like, tell us, a little bit more, like, how does it feel? Like, you have already coached men. Tell us a little bit about their experience after working with you. They must feel amazed that someone is really hearing them and listening to them and helping them to say, hey, what you're saying is valuable, and you too deserve to, have your voice heard and have the things that you love and desire in your life come to be. And here's how you can make it work with all of the women in your life: mothers, sisters, wives, all of it, nieces, daughters.
Yes, yes, absolutely right. We know nobody wants their toes to be stepped on, and our toes are as important as one another's. And the feedback of the men, and funnily actually of the women as well in their lives. And sometimes it just surprises me, and now I understand, and I also go out with actually communicating that the women in the men's life, they benefit almost as much as the men themselves, And yes, like you said, the number one point that I get as feedback when I work with men and when I speak to men is just, I can even feel it. It's like somebody's listening to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can actually, say what I think and say what I feel, and I don't feel like I'm being judged, or I have to be careful, and maybe I might not get dinner if I say the wrong thing, or they can just freely share. And
It's a safe container for them, like we women have our safe containers with our coaches. You created a safe container where they could just let it out, because they don't have to, shield themselves. So that's why this is so important. And I love that you're doing this for men, because, men are fabulous. So like, you are fostering better men. And like, it is, we already spoke about how the work that you're doing is going to revolutionize the way that little boys that turn into young men, that turn into adult men, will have a better framework now that works with this new way we are all being, which is empowerment for everybody, right? So, okay, tell us a little bit more. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just so jazzed about your work.
Love it. I love it. Thank you.
So important. Absolutely.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, it's actually one of the points that I love as well, and that's why I mentioned earlier on, all men, every male species, is that there, especially for the younger ones, there is just more guidance. I feel like I'm getting on this mission to actually create role models that can then be guidance for all the ages, like you said, the sons and the nephews and everything. And I think when I get the feedback, that being heard, and that being also, the other feedback I get is that actually they prefer a lot of times for that to be a woman that they can open up to, because sometimes amongst men they still have to kind of be strong, because I'm sure you also in the audience, when you think of it, your father and brother and everything, that's just how men are treated. They're not supposed to feel, they're supposed to be strong, and they're not, don't cry and all of those things. So this is something that we're dealing with, and that's something that I'm dealing with. And I'm not saying that I want I'm saying, come on, cry now. I'm just creating that safe container for them to feel whatever it is they want to feel. And because, a little bit on the downsides is also that when the men, or anyone for that matter, also us women, and we know that, is that when we don't get to express what we feel, we'll bottle it up inside, and it'll end up in anxiety and depression, and sometimes with men, because of the testosterone and all that, a little bit more of power, sometimes it can end in aggressive behaviors and all of those things. And that's something that it's almost like a relief valve. When there's too much pressure and you just take like, and then it's like, and I kind of feel a little bit like that sometimes. So this is the feedback that I get. And like I started saying also of the women in their life, like, wow, he's, so much karma. And because that's something men want, right? They just want peace.
That's so
They
true.
just want peace. Us women, we want a little bit of different things than men. I think, obviously we are all different, so there will be different desires, but men just really love peace, whether it's at work, but especially also in the home environment. So if you want to be at peace, you first got to get rid of all that pressure. You got to find ways of, like I mentioned earlier on how to plan your days, how to plan your lives, how to find out what is it that you actually want. And do I still want that? And can I say no? And is it okay to say no? And what are the consequences of me saying no? So there's a lot of thinking going on in men's heads, actually. And sometimes women are like, oh, they don't talk to me and he doesn't tell me everything. It's actually almost nature, but it's also, if you speak to men, they will tell you, listen, if I say, it might be a bit tight at the moment, or let's like slow down the spending, or this one, I don't know, my partner left, or he betrayed me in the business sense, and he would come and put all of that on the woman. The woman would be like, oh my God, we broke, and oh my God, and then she can't sleep, and because that's how we are. We're like, oh my
We
God.
worry. Yeah. Yes.
A lot of times they actually don't share things with us, not because they don't want to, but because they want to safeguard us from this pressure, and then, but that means also that they are having it and they are carrying it. And if they never have a relief valve, or nobody ever to talk to, there's one thing doing sports and all of that definitely has its importance, and hobbies and stuff, but to have somebody to talk to that will just listen.
Yes. And I think also, like, for these men that are, getting this beautiful opportunity to work with you and be heard, and it's helping them in all of the ways, I think for all of us women now, like all of the men in our lives, and when you think about what we want, I know, like, one of the biggest things for myself, and I'm sure for most every woman and every human, is to have our feelings validated or heard or understood, or just to be heard, right? Or just to, understand, and also to be thanked for our efforts. We women, we try very hard to make our families, our friends happy. And a simple thank you means everything. And we have to remember that men really want that too. They just want to be thanked for their services, for what they're doing correctly. And we when they're sharing something, and I love that you said that they're actually protecting us by not, letting it all out, because that's actually not that they're not communicating. It's that they want to make a lovely experience for the women in their life and not overburden them. And like you said, but then it becomes a burden to them. So when we're thinking, all of us, whether we're thinking about how we should relate to our men or our brothers or our uncles or sons, let's just say, wow, you're doing such a great job, or you did so good at this, or is there anything I can help you with, or thank you so much for that. Maybe, and let's give them the space when they need that space. Let them have that. And it could be a sport, right? It could be some kind of scrolling endlessly through their feed. It doesn't matter. They just need also to unwind. And we just need to, you know, step back a little bit, especially when they come home from work. I think men need to kind of wind down, so like we as women who, we can show up a little bit more for them because we're asking them to show up for us, right? And they should show up for us. However, we should also show up for them. So let's let's just basically be considerate of the human race. Forget about male, female. Let's just be considerate and think about like what you want for your own self is what they want as well. And, basically it's to be, understood, thankful, helpful, kind, um,
Appreciate.
relaxed, not so like it has to happen now. Let's just make a little bit of space and let them be who they are, also, and not always say, like, give them a laundry list of more things they, maybe need to do to be a better husband, father, uncle, brother. Let's just also let them evolve, but beautifully. So I'm just so for this work because it's our whole world life experience,
Yeah.
human experience, and it has been and will be, it is now and it will always be. So, okay, before we go into our success questions, can you just let everyone know and maybe spell it out, your website? So, women, all of these beautiful women that are listening, please get to know Anna and her work, and then also share it with the men in your life because we need to realize they do need a little help with this new way of being. And they don't get an instruction book, and they don't, the same way that we are rewriting the code for how we are going forward as women in this world now. Well, they need some help with some old belief systems they had and now how to reconstruct it to have it align. Okay, so let's everybody get in alignment. And Anna is the lady, beautiful woman, to help you get started with this. So, Anna, go ahead and tell them your website and spell it out just in case they're listening and they need to hear it. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to say one last point is that
yes,
exactly
please.
what you said, summarizing what you just said, is, when we see them and when we appreciate them and everything, then they will actually be able to step up their game as well and, improve your life, which will then make you, be your better self and
Yes,
become your better self, which will then, it's just full of benefits if both
yes,
actually know how to deal with one another, because the communication obviously is a little different. We all know that. But if we learn how to do it, it can actually benefit both sides. And that's why, I love the holistic approach. It's not just looking at the men or just looking at the women.
no,
It's looking at both. They're looking at the whole.
yeah.
And yes, that is my mission. And I'd love for you to see me. My name is Anna Thiel. The name of my website is Anna Thiel. So it's www Anna Thiel, that's ANNATHIEL.com. And then all across the socials, Instagram, it's Anna Thiel Official. So that's my first and surname again with the official at the end. Anna Thiel on Facebook, Anna Thiel on LinkedIn. So I can be found everywhere.
I love this. I think I love, just to close this out before we get into success questions, for some reason it keeps coming up to me, is this whole idea of a beautiful dance. Let's just even think of the tango. So all of us women right now, let's say empowerment equals us taking beautiful dance lessons and we're learning how to do the tango perfectly. And
Mm-hmm.
then, and I don't want to take it to like a partner as a husband. It could be your brother, uncle, son. It doesn't matter. The
The
male
males,
that's going to do the tango with you.
yeah,
Okay. Of what good is it if you are a master tango dancer and he hasn't learned the steps and he's stepping on your toes and you're stepping on his because you're out of sync? The better way is you both learn your parts and how to have a beautiful tango together and just dance across the dance floor beautifully together in sync, in harmony. Yes, it's not going to be perfect, but the goal should be to everybody knows how to become a better dancer. And then when
yeah,
you dance together, it's much better. So, it, and it doesn't work the other way. If he is the one just going out and getting the proper dance lessons and you have not done it or haven't been told you're allowed or been heard or helped on how to do your tango dance properly, he's going to come to you and he'll dance beautifully, but you're going to step on his toes and it's not going to. So both parties, this is a human thing. It's not a male female thing. It's a human thing. And this is why it's so important because we want to be joyful to each other and increase each other's happiness. It's about everybody being happy, because happy people make other people happy, and hurt people, unfortunately, sometimes hurt people. Sometimes not, they're not even aware of it. So we want us all to be helped and improved so we can have a much more beautiful experience, life experience, because that's what it is all for. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. If you need a metaphor, just think of a tango
I
and how
love
you
it.
want both
Love it. I'm
people,
already
right, to
thinking
dance.
beautiful
I love
life.
it.
Yes.
Okay. So now, as you know, wealthy, beautiful women out there, we're going to talk to Anna about her journey to her success. And if you listen, you will realize you're not alone in pursuing your passions. And you can either feel like, oh, okay, she had that experience too, or, oh, okay, that's a new way. I can try to do this. So I love this part because it's meant to be inspiring to you and helpful. And let's get started. So my first question is, if you could please share in detail why building a business for yourself has made you feel more successful, wealthier, empowered. Why would you recommend that a woman also pursue this for herself?
I actually think, and this is not supposed to sound cliche, but I think we all have the gift. We all could have a mission if we wanted to, and make a difference in this the beautiful thing that we call life. And a business is just a beautiful way of getting there. If you have your own business, you can really do whatever you want. Of course, it takes the building and it takes time and it takes patience and perseverance and blood, sweat, and tears and all of that. But it's so worth it if you have a mission and if you know why you're getting up in the morning. Then you can do your days as you want to, as long as everything points towards that mission that you want to achieve and those people that you want to influence and impact their lives in a positive manner with whatever your mission is. And like I
Yes.
said, I believe everyone has one. So the business is a beautiful vessel or vehicle to actually live your complete your mission.
Yeah, I love this. And it's the most creative thing. It's our business baby. We
Yeah.
nurture it and see it grow. And this is why I would, always recommend, don't chase the money, chase the desire in your heart, because it's going to last you your lifetime, and it is the reason why you'll get out of bed. Money in and of itself is not enough of a reason. It might seem exciting, but in the beginning, but if you have to wind up doing work that is just not filling you up joyfully and serving some other people in the world, you'll just know it, because when you're just not feeling that natural flow and natural desire and just feeling that joy, you'll want to really check in with yourself. And it's normal, because many women have so many skill sets. They can do many things. And I always said, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. You really want to make sure that you're on the right path, because the money will absolutely show up for you. But
Yes.
more, it is that, you want to just be just happy. That's really happy, free money, yes, for what that supplies for you. So I love that, because you said you want to get out of bed in the morning with joy in your heart. So, and that is
Yeah.
that is the key, to have a mission, right? A mission bigger than yourself, so
Yeah.
that and this actually, let me go on to the next question, because this was the secret to me getting over, let's say, imposter syndrome or visibility, being afraid to show up on camera to all these people I don't know, they're strangers. When you're first starting, it's like a little intimidating to do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I
Definitely.
realized, when you realize that your work can help somebody, even if it's just one person, you sort of, for me, I got out of my own way and realized it's not even about me. I am just a sort of like a vessel to get a message across and to hopefully serve other people. So maybe you can speak to how because we all feel it in the beginning. How did you get over that fear of going online and showing your face and being visible, and like, the who am I don't know, can I really help? How did you deal with
Yeah.
that?
Yes. Yes. I would definitely love to answer that one. I had it full, but is it okay if I just get my charging cable to actually
Oh
plug
my
it
goodness,
into everything?
absolutely, of course. I will pause us for a second here.
Okay, so
Okay,
that
so
one I'd
you were,
love to, yes, that one I'd love to answer because it was a big one for me. It was a big one for me to actually get out there to, do the lives, do the reels, do the posts, just, show my face out there and not only show my face, but actually also say things. But I think both of it, that was probably in the whole building a business and with everything that comes with it, that was the biggest obstacle for a long time, for a very, very, very long time, because all the knowledge that I have, I've accumulated it over decades, own experience, courses, books, and everything. But that one was the biggest hurdle, actually, is for me to get out there. And then you know what I thought to myself? I thought, and if you look at the big size of the obstacle it was, and then the kind of the solution almost, is that I thought to myself, everyone that I see on any screen had to go out there. They had to have their first live, had to have their first reel, had to,
that's right.
do the first interview or the first podcast or whatever it is, even actors, they had to, you have to make that one step to actually go out there and do it. And yes, we see them all, and now their videos are beautiful and edited, and they're talking as if that's all they do all day, and everything is professional and great. But they didn't start like that. Nobody started like that. So I think that is one that that actually helped me, kind of that realization. And then at the end of the day, you still got to just give yourself that last push and just do it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you what I always say, if somebody takes away just one sentence or one food for thought, I always call a lot of my things, I call hashtag food for thought. My whole podcast is just my food for thought. If somebody just takes even one of those and does something in their life with it,
yeah.
I'm very happy. And that's something that drives me now that I've made it out there.
Yes, I love this. Actually, I'm glad that we did a sidestep on this because it made me also think of one other thing that comes up, because it will come up. The more visible you are, you will get a criticism, and
Yeah.
it will not destroy you. You'll be okay. And let me tell you how I decided to not not that I don't care, but not make that my be all and end all. So a coach of mine, her husband, who's so supportive of her career, he's just amazing. She was telling this story about, I think it was related to her first live, and she was so nervous to do it herself. And her husband noticed some Instagram feed with a little, like, just think of the cutest little grandma. Oh, we have a fur buddy in that, a little kitty cat. Oh, I love it. I'm such a pet lover. Okay, so he had seen an Instagram with like a perfect little grandma baking cookies, apron, everything. Could not be any more innocent and sweet, right? Like,
Okay.
who in the world is going to criticize a nice little grandma making chocolate chip cookies? Nobody, right? Well, that's not the case. He started reading the comments and found a number of comments. I don't know what the criticisms were, but they were criticizing the grandma. And what he did is he took this Instagram reel and showed his wife, and he said, listen, you're going to get criticized. Just do it anyway. Because if a perfectly beautiful, adorable little grandma baking cookies can have trolls criticizing her,
Yeah.
you're just not safe. So
Thank
just
you.
accept it and get over it, because it is what it is. And that really, that is one of the best. I mean, I feel so bad for this little grandma, but it's one of the
Yeah.
best things in the world, because it will take the sting out. It will make it you realize it's not you. It's just not you. There's just trolls that have
Yeah.
nothing better to do. And you don't have to take it so personally. Focus on all the ones that you're making a difference in the world
Yes.
for, and do not even read the critic section. It's just not worth it. It has nothing. Someone else's opinion of you is not your business, basically. And I had
And
to add that.
to add to that one, which is a wonderful thing of the husband to do, but to add
Yeah,
to that one is that think of it in a positive way. Every comment is still a comment. It still shows the algorithm that your
that's
post
right.
is
That's
something that people are engaging in. So
mhm.
you know
You could just say
anyone
thank you, right?
listening
Say,
to it,
right, comment back and say, hey, thanks for boosting my
yeah.
post. It's
I
so
mean, that
true.
if you like really advanced, then you can say, thank you very much. You're
Yes,
helping me.
exactly. Yes, exactly. And always take the high road. Don't like, just just focus on the good that you do in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, next, I'm glad we touched on this because these are imposter syndrome, visibility, and fear of critics. It's huge for somebody starting out in their business or even someone already in their business. It's just it's not
Yeah.
comfortable for any of. And I love what you said about every single person had a first.
Yes.
Firsts are great, and we're all, like we didn't walk before we crawled, right? So there you go. It just we had to crawl before we walked.
Yes.
Okay. What would you say is the number one professional tip for women to grow their business? So now we're beyond the visibility, imposter syndrome, critic fear. So the confidence is there. Now, what do? They want to grow their business. If they only had one way to do that, what do you think would be a good first start for them?
Get together with somebody that loves what they're doing, that would support what they're doing, and would do everything in their power with their tools and their knowledge to actually, spread the word. Whatever tools they might use, if you have somebody in your corner that will support what you're doing and knows what to do, because a lot of us we don't know what to do. We like creators or we want to make a difference, but it's just like artists. A lot of artists they amazing at their art but have no clue about money. So get with somebody that knows what they're doing and also supports what you're doing, and let them do what they do best.
I love this, and I'm going to even go. I love this because you're bringing up such gold in your statements, and this is the thing. A good portion of us women business owners are extremely creative and visionaries. We
Yes.
we are, and that's amazing. And sometimes, to have a business, there's like 500 pieces, right? And so
Yeah.
nobody is expecting you to understand how to do all 500 pieces. And I know in the beginning, quite often we maybe don't have a budget. So we have to kind of do more of the things that we don't know how to do. And there's nothing wrong with that because you should always learn the front of the house and the back of the house. Like it's always important to know the overlay. But at
Absolutely.
some point when you have to let go of the things one you don't like to do, two, the things
Yeah.
that you're not good at. You have to be honest with yourself. What
Yeah.
are you good at? And what are you not good at? You don't have to be good at everything. It would be weird if you were. You're
Yeah.
supposed to have things that you're not good at, and that is okay. That doesn't mean you're failing. It just means it's not your wheelhouse and somebody else can do it better. And so delegate, and focus on your zone of genius and stop having a laundry list of to do things because you want to. The most important thing is for you to keep the joy in your business because if you kill the
Yes.
joy,
Yeah.
then you're not jumping out of bed to do your mission work. And so you have to pay attention that you're not overwhelming yourself
Yes.
and you're confusing it that you don't like your business anymore. Not necessarily. You probably still love your business, but you just created an impossible standard for yourself or an impossible schedule for yourself, and you're setting yourself up to self sabotage and fail. Just
Yeah.
get out of your own way and keep it simple. And really, I used to, and I know this from experience because overwhelm for me was the thing that almost stopped me in my tracks. And I'm like, no, this isn't for me. And I realized, no, that's not the case. I would start and say, well, okay, maybe what are three things that I can do? And then maybe I would only do one or two, but I would do them joyfully and everything would still work out and get done. And it was just such a better thing. And as you go along, you're going to think, oh, okay, I'm going to, let's say, build out this funnel and it should probably only take me 3 hours. That's what you think. And then you find out, oh, you better three times the time it takes you to do
3 days later.
anything, if not even more, right? So like you have to give yourself um just create a successful launch pad for yourself to succeed and don't checking off your to-do list is that's not
Yeah.
what that's about. So you have any more ideas on this one? Because I know a lot of us get in our own way and we don't compliment ourselves enough for what we do correctly. we kind of focus on, oh, I didn't do that, or I should have done that, or I could have done this differently. And it's hard sometimes for us to take time to be proud of ourselves, but we have to do that, celebrate our wins, right? So
And that's
what do you have
exactly
to add to that?
yes, that's exactly where I wanted to get in, which is also there, men and women are a little different. Firstly, when you said the thing about delegating and, what did you say? Your something zone. That sounded really beautiful.
Your zone of genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
zone of genius. That's what I also tell the men that I work with. I'm like, you don't have to do all these nitty-gritty things that somebody else can do, which there's nothing wrong with, but men, it's very hard for them to delegate because it's giving up control. Okay, so this is something that on the man side. On the women's side, we want to multitask. We think our worth, the better we can multitask, the more worth we are.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's actually not. And things don't really get done properly when we multitask, but that's a whole different subject.
I hear you.
And I think the other one is also comparing ourselves. A lot of
Yeah.
times men will do their thing, but women, I think that's a big one for us, especially in social media. And it was also a big one for me, to go out there but I'm not like her and I'm not like that and I'm not to this, to that, to that. Don't we know it? We're to this and to that. We always tell ourselves this and then we don't go out there and then we actually deprive the world of our gifts, right? It's actually learned it's an obligation to do it and that selling is serving and that if I keep it back and if I don't in this case help the man, support the man, guide the man, then I'm robbing them of something that that could make their lives better and therefore the ripple effect that I talked about, all the other men in their lives, the women in their lives, and and if we all think like that and we all get into that zone of genius and do what we do best, I think it would just really uplift the whole world. Yes. But then coming back to, because there is two things, like if we're on the budget, then of course we have to watch all the free stuff. And there's a lot of stuff out there. There is a lot of stuff out there which is confusing, but there's also a lot of good stuff out there. Right. So look for those. But as soon as you can, is invest yes. Invest in somebody that can do the things that you don't want to do or that you're not good at, like you just said.
Exactly.
And don't do it all by yourself. And if you don't, then you fail. And this is something I also, delegating for me was like, no, I can do it all.
Yes, exactly. Or better. Yeah.
Yeah, I can, I could, maybe I can't. Sometimes I have to be honest.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, somebody can do that better, So yeah, building a business is also very much building our personality and evolving and looking at ourselves and being honest with ourselves. And, it's a whole process. It's not only just like signing up the company and, like doing that kind of stuff. It's lots of emotional stuff, lots of honesty.
It's like the greatest education you'll get. I really like that. And traveling for me are like build a business and travel as much as you can. And I tell you, the confidence and knowledge that you gain about yourself and the world in general, it's just beautiful. And one thing I wanted to just I love this. We're going a little off, but all for good reason. The idea of the perfectionism, what you were saying about comparing yourself to others. Here is a great thing that helped me when I first started. Like I was all about, okay, well, you can see me put my reading glasses on to end the video. So I gotta, edit that out. And, it sounds simple enough, but it adds to all of the work and it takes time and it's not exactly fun. And then I just stopped and I said, you know what? No, I'm not doing that anymore to like little imperfections, or re-edits and all the things, or worrying like so much about, oh, I should have colored my hair or all the things.
Yes.
What you are doing. No, I'm not saying show up and, be your best self, of course, but your best self doesn't have to be perfect self. And it sure doesn't have to be like somebody else. And what it is allowing is when you show up imperfectly, it is like having a best friend next door that you just love hanging out with. It's so endearing. It's endearing that you're not perfect. It's endearing that you're just like girl down the street. We need that. And what that does is it helps other women business owners. It gives them permission to just be who they are, authentic. That's what we want. We don't want polished and airbrushed and we don't want all that. We want to just be real because we are real people doing business with real people. And therefore, perfection is not, if you're skilled at what you're doing, you know you can create transformation, that's enough. Show
Yes.
up and give your best and help another person, serve them. And
Yes.
and I on purpose, I went on one of my videos, I decided to go no makeup, hair even a little bit messy, and I'm like, I'm doing it because it was important to realize it wasn't again, it wasn't about me. It's about the message. It's about being of service. And so just take that pressure off, and don't forget the cookie lady. She was perfect, and it still wasn't good enough. So, to some. So
I think what you just said is oh, sorry, you distracted me with the cookie lady. You said something before that about perfect. I don't remember, but at the end of the day, something else I wanted to put on is a lot of people think, oh, but there's already so many coaches and there's already so many people doing that, and I'm too late, or I'm too old, or I'm too this, or I'm too that. No, because nobody is like you.
that's
Nobody's
right.
like me. Nobody's
That's
like
right.
you. Nobody's like all of you listeners and watchers. Nobody
That's
is
right.
like you. We are all unique, and
Yes.
somebody that's doing the same thing will not say it like me, or will not have the same
Right.
energy, or will not use the same analogies, or whatever it is. So you are unique, and only you can bring across the message that
Right.
you can put here to share with the world. So
Your tribe will find you, right? Because they will
yes,
resonate with your
yes,
personal personality that works for them. And each of us have different personalities that resonate with us, that chemistry, so to speak, right?
yes,
So who you are is going to be more than enough for more than enough people out there. It's not oversaturated. There's so much room for everybody to do their work and find their people. And that's why, exactly, be you, show up as you, because you don't want to attract the people that would be like, going on dates with someone that is not your type of person, like that. Just find your type of person and go on dates with that type of person. So
yeah.
you wanted, being you, the real you, means you're going to attract the right people to your world. So I love this. This is so important. These things, because especially in the beginning parts of any business owner's journey, this is all the stuff that comes up, all of it, all at once too, right? And yeah, and
And to that
okay,
one, can I just add one last one to that one?
of course.
I have, I haven't done it myself, but I know that a lot of people do it. And just recently, also a friend, is that when you want to start a business, you have an idea, you're not so sure, you want to find out, or you're starting, or you like, kind of in it, and it might not be working, whatever. You can always, keep your job or get a job, whatever, and kind of treat it as a hobby. And by, we all get better. Practice makes you better. It doesn't make, I
That's
don't
right.
believe that practice makes you perfect. Practice makes you better. So if you keep that safe thing and do not do that thing whatever you feel is safe for you, and then on the side just start your business, put a few hours in, and then the more you like it, the better you become, the more hours you will put in, and then it'll naturally make this one obsolete, and then you can just properly focus on that. So not everybody has to jump into the cold water.
Yes. And I love, again, that you just said this, because it is important. Um, the same way we were talking about not overwhelming yourself with all the things you should be doing. Go on TikTok, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, go on Facebook, do this, create a funnel, all the things. When you're first starting out, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
no, you got to create that success platform for yourself. And so that means doing less better. And the other thing you do want to, definitely, I agree with you here, a financial stress where you're freaking out, oh my god, my business needs to make money, is, it's not that we have all of us have been there, all of us, and probably more than once, but regardless, we know how icky that feels, and it can also become not creating that successful platform for you to really enjoy your business. And so what Anna is saying, if you have a job, or if you need to get a job, just because you know that this business is going to be your mission, your joy, make sure you keep it in that joyful place. And you want to do that by avoiding overwhelm and avoiding the financial freak out, so like, because they are real things, that is part of the deal. And but at some point you will get better. You'll delegate, you'll outsource so the
Yeah.
overwhelm goes away. And
Yeah.
then your business will grow because you've become better at it, and you'll start to be able to replace your income from a job where you can then finally know when it's the right time to go full on.
Yeah.
I guess the main point we are both trying to say here is if that desire in your heart to create this beautiful business to serve others is very important, and you do not want to accidentally um get in its way, so it doesn't have a way to grow and build and thrive, because you're going to be able to serve people once it is really in its flow. And so
Yes.
therefore, be aware and ask yourself those questions. What is the most joyful way I can do my business? What is the most joyful way? Because it's very important for you to prioritize joy. You want to always be making sure that your business is bringing you joy. And if there's a clunk in the chain, then figure out what the clunk in the chain is and get rid of the clunk, because there's nothing wrong with your business if it's meant for you and it brings you that joy. So I love that we really touched on this, because this is definitely the things that sometimes can put a stop sign on for somebody when it shouldn't be a stop sign at all. So,
Yeah,
just,
yeah, and I
yeah,
think I love that you added the joy part, because I'm a believer in, we should really only be doing things that bring us joy. And
yes,
of course, there will be tasks, that we have to do. But then, like you said, like, how can I make it more joyful? Like, how can
yes,
I make this, or do I have to change, where I'm sitting? Or, do I just give myself nice breaks or reward myself or something like that to keep the fun in building the business? And I think the joy part is also, because if you think about it, this is one of my big ones also, and I teach this as well, is the time consciousness. I always say to the men that I'm working with is it worth it? Is it worth, because you have this much time. Nobody knows how much time we have, but
yeah,
we should make the best of it. And that's where the joy comes in. It's like, how can you make it more joyful? How can they make their work more joyful? How can they make their family life more joyful? There's like lots of different ways of doing it, but first
yeah,
it's the mindset thing anyways. But yeah, so I love
yeah.
that
I,
joy thing.
I love that. It's funny because I was just thinking this, and I was like, oh, that's a very interesting metaphor. I was thinking myself, sometimes, we have all the things we have to do in our business, and they are important, and they should get done, but how you get them done can be a different way of the conversation, right? You don't want to be the boss to yourself, that if it was an actual job that you'd want to quit. You like, no way, I don't want to be there. Like, no, this is your business, this is your baby, you get to design it and
Yeah.
be creative and make it the best version of what you need personally, and that should always be about it making you happy. And you're allowed to ask those questions, instead of treating yourself like an employee that isn't being heard or cared about or fostered or whatever it is. And it's one of the most empowering questions you can say to yourself, and you can apply it to everything. What
Yes.
is the most joyful way that I can have a evening ritual? What is the most joyful way I can do my business? What is the most joyful way I can communicate with my partner? What is the most joyful way I can do fitness and get in health? What is the most joyful way that I can eat? Because sometimes we push things on ourselves because they're supposed to get us the results.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to get the results a little bit more slowly, and you enjoy the process the whole way. Because what's the point of hating the process, and then you get the goal and you achieved it and you're like, okay, cool, but you hated the journey? No,
Yeah.
no, let's
And it
make
is
the
about the
joyful
journey.
journey. Yes.
It's about the
Okay, my
journey.
last question for you, and this is a good one. So what now we're talking about joy and self-love, so we can show up to the world in a beautiful way. What is one of your favorite rituals for self-care and self-love?
Oh, that's a beautiful one. It's actually something that also, didn't come so easily to me. I think that's also something that, again, unfortunately, men feel it also, but it's a quite a female thing. That because we all always want to be perfect and do everything perfectly, is to actually remember to love ourselves. And what is the ritual? Um, I think first of all, one of the things that I like to remind myself of is that it's not really about me. Like you said yourself, you're the vessel, I'm the vessel. It's just I'm the one sharing the message. And if I can, like every time I hear the feedback of the men that I work with, or even all throughout the years, people that have said, "Oh, your posts, I had a bad day, and then I read your post, and it just made me feel happy." And just small things, which are the big things.
Yep.
Something like that just makes me feel like, I'm doing a good thing. I'm doing a good job. So I like to remind myself of, or read, or listen to, or whatever the case, whatever the feedback comes in as. That makes me feel good, and that makes me feel good about myself. And I guess in a weird way, also makes me love myself and think, yeah, I'm actually, doing something that's creating impact. So it might be a bit deeper, the answer to the question, but that's so if you say a ritual, it's probably reading the feedback.
I love it. I love this. I love this. And I have a experience with this. And and this is what I can say then to all you women business owners too. Get those testimonials. You need to ask for them. You need to ask for them. There's nothing wrong with asking for them. And people are so more than wanting to share their love of the experience they had with you. So please make it a point to always ask for a testimonial. Just ask. You're allowed. It's okay. And then make sure you're sharing that, because that's going to be your social proof and make people feel confident in you. So it's very important. But what Anna said is also extremely important. We're all going to have those down days. Like, does my business even matter? Am I really doing a good thing? Is this a good way to, whatever it is you get in your head sometimes. It happens to all of us. And so, like you, Anna, that's interesting that you said that. I had a funky day, back a while ago, and I decided to listen to my testimonials that were recorded, that the ones that sent the videos, and read them. And it wasn't about like, an ego thing. It was just about like, oh wow, a confirmation.
Yes.
Oh, I am doing good. I tell you, that funk left so quickly and got me so focused on my purpose again. So this is such great advice, because sometimes we don't compliment ourselves enough. We do a good job. We're like, okay, good job. And then we're like, on to, okay, now what do I have to do next? We don't
Yes.
like really, relish in it, revel in it. And we need to revel in it a little bit more, because we work very hard, right?
Yeah.
But taking the time, even once a month, make it a ritual every quarter. Read all your testimonials. It'll get you re-engaged and re-energized even more than you already were. So I think fantastic advice. I love that. Okay, before we close out, let everybody know again where they can find you, your website link.
Yes, my website is www.ANNATHIEL. So that's my first name and my second name.com. Nice and easy. On my socials, Instagram would be Anna Thiel Official, and all the other platforms are just Anna Thiel. And I'm really on all platforms. I'm not so much on Snapchat, but on everything else. Facebook page, LinkedIn. What else is there? X, Threads.
Oh, it's a lot.
Yes,
But that
yes,
doesn't happen overnight, ladies. You can build all those channels
yes,
over time.
yes. And it's an ongoing process. So
Yes, and it's an enjoyable one, because you're always making little steps forward, which is really rewarding when you're in love with the business that you're doing, right? So, Anna, I just want to say, wow, wow. I knew this interview was going to be so beautiful and amazing. And I am so thankful. This has been really such a beautiful conversation. And yes, please, women, get in touch with Anna, and share her among all of your other women folk, your family members, your friends, and share it with the men in your life. And let us all create a beautiful dance together. And I'll leave it at that. So signing off for now, and you have a great rest of your day, and keep going for your dreams. See you next time.